neighbor and me and my friend that I had invited over for the weekend or something like that, Leanne Thompson from where we used to live. Anyhow, we were going to go to the movies and we were going to walk up there because it was about, maybe a mile and a half or something like that at the most.
Yeah, it was about a mile and a half.
So we started out and we walked up to the movies and we saw the movie, and on the way back it was kind of starting to rain but not too bad, and we were walking and we got probably about a half a mile from the house, and we saw this car stop on the other side of the road, and thought we saw somebody get out of it, and then the car went on, and then we saw this guy walking, and it looked like he had something shiny in his hand. So we said, oh. And then we saw him coming across the road up towards us, and we said, oh my gosh, what's he doing? And so we went up this one driveway to this place where some Chinese people lived, and we heard him knocked on the door and he wouldn't answer, and we could hear him getting closer and closer. He was coming up right behind us, and so we left there and we took off across the fields at their back property. We had wooden shoes at that time. Leanne Thompson did anyway. She lost one of her wooden shoes in the ditch that we had to cross, and we're all wet and muddy and everything. And this guy was right behind us all the time, and we were running like
just
mad,
running after him,
under and over fences and everything. And we got to this place at the bottom of the hill, just down from where we lived, and I used to babysit the kids there, so we ran up to there, and they let us in. We told them about it and said, well, you better call home and let your mom know where you're at. So we called home, and Mom said, oh my gosh, I'll just get the sheriff out then. Churches was their name, the place we went into, and it was helping us, and we were scared and crying and everything, and muddy and wet. And we looked out and nobody around, so we figured it was safe to go ahead and walk home. So we walked home, and the sheriff was at the house already, and so what did he look like? Well, we didn't really see his face, but we were scared and we were just a mess, all three of us. And we were trying to give a description of what happened and everything, and the sheriff was really concerned, and Mom was just irate. And then pretty soon in comes Leo, wet, all over his umbrella. And, what the hell's the matter with you girls? And we're, why? Well, Mom told me to go up and meet you and walk you home. I had the umbrella and everything, and here you go, take off across country, and I chased him. He chased us all the time. The sheriff was out looking for him. But, oh God, it was scared the living daylights out of us. I never once in my whole life ever thought somebody was coming to help us.
Well, yeah, you get that fear in you, you know.
Well, and then Mom
running after those girls.
And then Mom said,
and he was yelling at him, but of course it was raining, and they were so scared they didn't recognize him.
He said he followed it. I said, well, why don't you say something? And he said, I did. I tried to yell at you, and you wouldn't answer. Just kept running, and he
crazy girls. Oh yes, we always every Saturday night.
She was so mad at us because we had to have a bath out of turn because we went swimming in that swamp.
Yeah, we used to run to the fields, and swear to God that cow pie was crusty enough to run over, but it'd be one of those light crusts, you know, and get that cow shit all over our feet.
That Tony, he used to like to play jokes.
Oh yeah, hold your hand over a cow pie.
He would say, now, Evelyn, I'm going to just start out real light like this, and you get your arm like this, and I'll keep getting harder and harder, and when it gets too hard, just say, ow, and I'll stop. So he started.
And you were dumb enough to do it.
He'd start hitting harder and harder. No, I'm not going to stay. I'm not going to say anything. and pretty soon, oh, that hurts, Tony. Okay, I stopped. Now you can do it to me. So I sat up real light and said, ouch, right away.
He used to always pull.
And then he'd say, hit my hand. And I'd go right down the cow pie. or a thistle.
Mm-hmm.
I fell for it every time.
And always, you know, open your mouth and close your eyes. And you'd stick one of those dandelions that's all full of seeds in your mouth.
I remember when he used to catch us smoking, and he'd lord it over us, and I can remember when Mom said, "Yeah, I guess you kids can go to the show tonight." And, you know, have to walk up to the theater and go, and he'll sit over there and he'd say, "Evelyn doesn't want to go, do you, Evelyn?" That meant if you went, I'd tell Mom you were smoking. No, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Mom never caught on, and he was mean that way.
Yeah, he was
He
mean.
used to lord it over us all the time.
I don't know why. He always got to be the one to punch the tickets for the berries. Picking
He
berries.
was a supervisor all the time. Yeah.
Picking berries. We had to
Well, he
pick.
was the oldest one there.
We had to pick 2 flats before we got any lunch.
Remember how he used to steal cigarettes from him? We'd open the pack, and he'd wake up in the morning and he'd say, "I know you kids took some cigarettes of mine because there's always 3 in a row right on top." And we didn't know that. And so we thought, well, we're going to have to get smarter than this. We're going to have to take one out and then hurry it and shove the rest of them down so there's 3 across so we can't tell. And then he caught on to that, and he said, "I know what you're doing." So then we opened up the bottom real careful and took one right out of the middle and closed it all back up again real good. And he didn't catch on to that too good. And a couple times we were a little bit messy about it. And he said, "One of you kids were in there buying cigarettes again." And he said, "No." So look at this, it's this way and that way, you know, it isn't right anyhow. And little Mary did it. So we pass it off as that.
I thought we used to hold little Mary up to the mantle
we
and let
used
her
to-
rip into
we used
Dad's
to-
cigarettes.
We used to put her up to it, yeah.
We'd hold her up to the mantle place and say, "Tear up Grandma's Daddy's cigarettes." And then we'd roll our own.
Yeah, we did
Dad
that.
used to have a cigarette rolling machine, and it was fun to do.
What did he do to the cigarette tobacco?
What did we do to it?
No, what did he do to it?
What did
Who?
Mary do to it?
Your dad.
Oh, he never knew.
He
used to
never
put
knew.
match heads in there.
Oh, he did that to the boys when they were older. When we were older boys.
He didn't do that to us.
Mm-mm. He didn't. I don't think he ever caught on to
I
us,
remember
did he?
one time, me and Bernie and Byron, we were playing hide and go seek or something. We found some condoms in the closet, buried way in the back. I don't know whose they were.
At our house?
Mm-hmm.
They weren't mine.
Over on Vashon Island.
Oh.
And we thought they were balloons. And we were up in the bedroom there blowing them up. And God, when they popped, they were just like a light bulb. They made such a loud noise. I didn't even know what they were, though.
They might have been. I remember getting in the car one time. We were all going to go to church. I was probably about 12, something like that at the most. And Joe was still home, so I must have been even maybe younger than that. But he'd had that car out the night before, and they saw this little label like on shoelaces, you know, that this paper that bound them in the middle.
Yeah.
I saw it on the floor of the car, and "Oh, who got some new shoelaces?" And Joe says, "Put it down, put it down." So I figured it must have been a condom. I'll never forget
You
when.
knew about them then.
No, I didn't know about him. He
Oh,
did.
you're thinking now it must have been.
Yeah, I thought, I didn't know about him then. But when Mom was, when I had Jim, no, when I got married, you know how they get your name out of the paper and they send you different little gifts and stuff, personal gifts, like douches and stuff like that to the women.
What
when,
gifts?
When they read your name in the paper when you're getting married or anything. And I was living over at Aunt Flossie's at the time. And I got this, the mailman rang the doorbell. And I went to the door and he said, "Are you Evelyn Gilman?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Here's a package for you." And all over the outside of it said, this is a birth control. Do not use, this is birth control.
Oh, man.
And it was a douche powder. I was so embarrassed. But it had come to my home address, and Mom had sent it over to Aunt Flossie's and just wrote this all over the outside of it. And she was a devout Catholic, I guess you'd say that. She was a fanatic, let's put it that way. Because when Dave was working at this...
She was, now just a minute, Mom was a fanatic in some ways, but in some ways she wasn't, because she was kind of a hypocrite too. Because you could not eat meat on Friday, right?
Yeah.
But every Friday she made wilted lettuce, and that's made with bacon, and we had to pick out every little piece of bacon, and by the time we got done, this grease had congealed all over this lettuce. Oh, it was awful. But her and Dad used to get in this fight every time we had pork and beans.
Can't eat the pork.
Can't eat the pork and beans. Why? Because it's got meat in it. He said he got so mad he went to the priest and asked him in confession if that counted. And the priest says, as long as you don't eat the piece of pork.
I remember Pa going to Father Merton's at St. John's when he was there. Father Merton's was an old German priest that made wine out of everything he grew in the garden. And
He used to make beer too.
Dad would go up there and they'd get drunker skunks. And
That's right.
then he'd come home and the next morning we'd go to church and there'd be confessions too before Mass. And you could hear when Pa go in there and you could hear the priest say, "Did Mama get mad at you last night?" we could hear it clear outside the confessional.
Yeah, you
But
hear
for
all
your
this.
penance, say say the rosary, or he had great big long penances to say.
Well, he must have known we said the rosary all the time anyway.
He probably didn't. That was nothing. We just had to say it over and over again. Any little thing that we did. But he used to be a priest similar to O'Brien over here, where he'd sleep outside and.
Yeah, but he wasn't. He was a drinking priest. O'Brien's not.
Oh.
Which one was caught in the backyard taking a bath?
And Father Merton's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's
he
the
did
one
that for penance.
He got killed on the bicycle riding up.
Yeah,
the
he
store.
rode a bicycle everywhere he went.
Yeah, and some car hit him one day.
He's a good old guy.
He
I
was.
remember him giving a sermon, and he'd get so involved in his sermon that he'd start crying, and his nose would run and go like this with his vestments. Wipe his nose on his sleeves, on his vestments.
Yeah.
And then he was also, I can remember when our house burned down, we used to have the church picnics every year. And he said, well, instead of going out to such and such a lake for a picnic this year, we're all going over to Gilman's and putting a roof on that house. And they all did. They all came over and put the roof on it that day. Had a big old picnic, church picnic right in our backyard.
Ellen, I must have not been born when the house burned down.
I don't know if you were.
Because it was said...
I was about 8 years old.
It was said that, well, we're only 7 years apart, aren't we?
5.
Well, when I got pneumonia, they wouldn't let me come home because our house was too drafty, and didn't we just have stud walls after the new house was built?
No, that was in the old house.
Oh, we only had stud walls in the old house?
No, I remember you in the old house. You were about 3 years old in the old house.
Oh, okay.
When you dumped the cream over on yourself, you were little. But you were at Furnaces most of the time.
Yeah, I know, I was there a lot.
And so you may not have been there when the house burned down.
Now, I remember staying in the chicken coop a few times, though.
That was after Dad started building the new house. And we're still talking. But I remember cleaning out the chicken house. We had
We had to whitewash it because it had lice.
well, we had to do some kind of sterilization, lime and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
They had one curtain hanging, and that was the kitchen and eating area, and the other side was sleeping.
I remember Mom, we didn't save anything out of the old house that burned down. No clothes, we just had our pajamas. We just gotten plumbing in, and nobody had used it yet. indoor toilet and bathtub, a bathtub anyway, for sure. And we hadn't used it yet.
Wasn't it that neighbor went in and ripped it all the wall?
Lester was the one that came down and they just ripped that bathtub up and just heaved it out the window, saved that.
Can you imagine that?
And this old man, Stager was his name, he was an old guy, and he had built cupboards in the bathroom for Mom. Nice big drawers and stuff. He was so proud of that he'd carry those drawers out. One time he had an old cane, and he had trouble with his bowels, I guess, because he had to take mineral oil all the time. There was always a big oil stain in the back of his pants. And he'd be carrying that one drawer at a time on one arm and staggering out with them.
They had time to get all that useless stuff out and couldn't save one darn thing of value.
Tony saved the wood box and that great big egg that the chicken laid. Had a really great big egg that we had up in the cupboard. I never thought he'd ever save the wood box because he hated to carry in wood.
Yeah, I think it was ingrained. It was his stuff.
And Mom lost a lot of pictures.
Yeah, it's our churches.
I remember. No, there was Bernie and Barney too, or Byron anyway.
Well, I remember Byron being out in Woodland because that's where I got hurt on this scar on my face. Because I was standing on the piano bench out there.
Byron was just a baby because I remember being at Geisler's. Do you remember being at Geisler's?
Mm-hmm.
This woman let us
That's
use
where I
their
got
house.
stung by my first bee.
And I remember Byron was the baby then because I remember him in his little sunsuit, and he was out and he got in his ant pile. His ants were just all over him. And I remember that vividly from Geisler's. I remember one time when we had to go to school at Central Avenue right across from us for just a couple of days. I just hated it. And
Woodland School?
no, it was Central Avenue.
Oh, yeah.
So Mom let us go clear back to Woodland School, and I'd gone through the rag bag or something, and I found this pair of underpants, the silk ones. Never had those before. It was always long underwear or union suits of some kind. And I just love these silk ones. I'm going to wear them, I think. And they had runs all over in them. And they had these bars at school where you turn flips and flops all over the bars. Well, I just went around in those, and all the kids were saying, Evelyn's got runs in her pants, and I was so proud that somebody noticed that I had silk pants.
Dad runs in them, huh?
Yeah. That was good though. Oh,
Do you want me to sing that?
sing it, Barbara.
Well, give a little background to it.
Okay. Academy.
What one?
We used to stand out in the balcony. Out the balcony there, and we used to sing. We are the senior girls. We wear our hair in curls. We smoke big black cigars and wave to boys in cars. Have you had yours today? We had ours yesterday. That's why we feel this way. Ha ra ra boom de.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we were doing. Well, my adventure at the academy. Had this janitor working there, and I liked him so well I used to spit on him.
Wow.
His name was
No
Mike.
wonder my hair fell.
I had a spiral staircase, and I used to spit down there to see if I could get his attention. I must have got his attention because I married him. First time he kissed me was over the garbage can. And as soon as he kissed me, he says, "Wow, I thought you were going to hit me." God, I'd been waiting for months for him to do it. I never thought he'd ever get around to it.
First night I went out with Everett, we got put in jail.
Oh, that's a...
My brother Jim was going with the girl that knew Everett's sister, and they all came over to visit one time. We were going to go to church, I guess, and Lucy was Everett's sister's name. And she said, "Oh, Evelyn, you should meet my brother." And I said, "Oh, yeah, how old is he, 16? And no, he was about 20-something. Oh, okay, maybe I will then. So I met him. He was in the bathroom shaving. She took me right in there and introduced us, and then made plans to go to Point Defiance. And Then we were going to go to the drive-in movie out midway, halfway between Seattle and Tacoma. I think that water park is there now.
Midway, used to be Midway, wasn't it?
Yeah, midway. And see, my girlfriend and Lucy and Jim's girlfriend and Jim and Everett and I all went. And Everett had his uncle's car from Ellensburg. We'd gone to the drive-in movie and we were coming out and got stopped by the cops. Everett was supposed to be speeding or something, and it was his uncle's car and he didn't have any proof of anything, so they just put him in jail. We had to all pool our money together. I think it cost us $25 or something to get him out. And
That's a lot of money in those days.
God, you make it sound like it was 100 years ago.
Well, $25 25 years ago was a lot of
Well,
money.
yeah, well, between all of us that didn't even hardly have any money. But about 4 o'clock in the morning, they finally let him out. Then he had to drive all the way back to Ellensburg because he didn't have any proof of whose car it was, so they figured it was stolen or something like that, I guess.
But they let him drive it back.
I think so. I don't know what happened. Anyway, he had to get clear back to Ellensburg by the time to go to work in the morning, but that was my first date with him. And he gets put in jail. I should have known. We almost got put in jail one other time. We'd gone to this a wedding reception in Great Falls, and we went with some people named Smiths. They were friends of ours, and I guess we finished up at the reception pretty late, and we were going to go down to the only all-night restaurant. And we got in there and we ordered birdies in the basket. That's chicken and French fries and stuff. And I said, oh golly, I don't feel very good. I'm going to go out and get some air. So I meant to go outside and just get some air. But everybody had to go with me. And the waitress stopped us at the door and said, well, you just ordered. Now your order's almost ready. What are you going to do? We're going to be right back. So we step out there and it's about time for the Sunday papers to be delivered. The big bundles. And this kid just threw him off of the pickup and just went by Natalie Smith, our friend, and she said, oh, that almost hit me. And Everett says, that hit you? And then he picks up the bundle of papers and he throws it back in the pickup. And, now you throw that out like a gentleman should. and the kids start cussing at him. So Everett got really mad. And her husband, Evan, you can't talk to my friend that way. So one on one side of the pickup and the other one on the other side are punching in the windows like this, going down Central Avenue. And Natalie and I are running behind and saying, come on, Evelyn, we gotta help him, we gotta help him. So we get down there, and about the same time the cops do it, one had Everett by the collar and the other one had Evan by the collar, hauled us all into the police station. And Natalie said, you're not going to put this in the paper, are you? Then my kids will read it. Well, they're only 2 and 3. But it worked. And then they said, what's your names? And she said, Smith, S-M-Y-T-H. She's so drunk.
S-M-Y-T-H.
And I said, God, I don't want to tell you my name. And then he said, what's your the young? Sure, likely story, Young and Smith.
Yeah,
And then we go back to the restaurant after that and want to know where our birdies in the basket are. And of course they just, well, you said you'd be right back. And well, we're back. Well, we didn't get fed that night.
Tell about your neighbors that moved in the new house across the street.
Huh.
That were going to fertilize their yard cheap.
Oh, yeah, they had gone down to the river and got all this real good soil from the banks of the river to put over their garden, on their lawn and garden. And it rained that night, and when there's condoms all over the yard.
They went down to the city sewer to get fertilizer
Well,
for their yard.
It was where the sewer had gone into the river, I guess. I I don't know, but they got all this really good dirt and they put like topsoil all over everything and there was like condoms growing out there.
Can you imagine waking up in the morning and open up your curtains and millions of condoms?
I remember this, the same gal, she was building this garden and she has all these little crosses out there. I said, my gosh, it looks like a little cemetery. What did you do? She said, well, I'm just labeling what's growing out there. It was like a little miniature cemetery, all these little crosses. That those condoms all over the yard were something else. There were just millions of them. How many people flushing down the toilet? I never thought of that.
Till about the time the workers would work out in the front, you didn't want the kids to. Remember when they were in a ditch out front? And you always punished your kids by calling them into the bedroom?
Oh, yeah, that was Jim. He was doing something wrong. I said, you want to come in the bedroom with me? And all about 3 or 4 workers said, yeah. I said, oh, wow. I won't forget that. Jim, when he was about 5 years old, Everett and I were getting ready to go out, and these people from the watchtower came to the door, and we heard Jimmy answer the door, and we heard Jimmy say, oh, I don't think we can buy that. My mom and dad can't even afford to go out and get drunk tonight. And so they gave him the watchtower. I didn't want to come out of the bedroom at all.
Tell about Everett and the Vicks Vapor Rub.
Oh. Gosh, that's a long time ago.
Oh, we got her on a roll now.
Everett had stopped off with the boys to have a drink, I guess, but he didn't get home until quite late. And I was a little bit perturbed because I had to fix the oil heater and everything. So, I'm just going to make it a little bit difficult for him. So I put a chair in front of the door, and then I went to bed and I was reading a book, and then I thought, well, I heard him drive up. So I hurried up and turned the light out, pretend like I was asleep. And he comes in, it's a little teeny trailer, about 19 foot hitch and all. And I heard him stumble over the chair I put there. And he gets back in the bedroom. We have this little nightstand just connected right with the bed. Pulls out this drawer and he puts Vicks up his nose every night. So he's putting this Vicks up his nose. And he said, God damn, it's been a hot day today, the Vicks melted. And then I remembered I put my ink in the same drawer. And he had blue nostrils. And I couldn't hardly keep from laughing, but he didn't know that I was awake. And the next morning I didn't say anything to him. We don't have a bathroom in the house. He had to go out to the washroom, public washroom, to get ready to go to work, and he comes back in and he said, why didn't you tell me? And I said, don't ever say how bad I look in the morning ever again. You blue nostrilled monster.
I think that's so funny.
Then there was a time when Everett doesn't take pills very good at all. He doesn't believe in them. And Pa was with us at that time too. We'd going into bed and he got a hell of a headache. And I said, well, did you take some aspirin? Oh, no. I will get up and take some aspirin. Oh, okay. So I said, where are they? And I said, oh, I just got a new box. And he got halfway there and said, well, hell, we'll just try that then.
You don't get it.
I just got a new box, but he let me finish. Didn't let me finish to say I got a new box of aspirin. He said, well, hell, we'll try that then.
He doesn't. You
I
don't
just
know what a
started
box is? That's a woman's pussy.
Oh.
It's on. Well, that's.
I can't believe he didn't know what it was.
I never heard that term.
You haven't? Oh my gosh.
The guy was born yesterday.
Well, you're learning something.
Oh yeah.
You don't learn that in college.
That's what makes it so funny. It's because no one says, oh, we'll try that then.
I went to a Dale Carnegie class one time to the banquet putting it on. And I won a pencil for telling that one about the Vicks Vapor Rub.
I always told her to write it to the Reader's Digest.
Oh.
That would have been great, wouldn't it? See that Vicks Vapor Rub.
Well, I knew he'd never turn any lights on because that was left over from the Army days. You get shoes and everything thrown at you if you come home late and turn any lights on when everybody else is sleeping. So I've forgotten about that ink.
Oh,
That
man.
was funny though.
That was one of your better ones. Except our first camping trip to Montana. Oh, God.
That was a fun camping trip.
Oh, yes, it was a fun camping trip. I have to tell you about my first camping trip. We went to Montana to see Evelyn and Everett. That was the first trip we ever took with the kids. And so we get up there. We drive right smack to their house, right to the address. We got in a little later than we expected because she invited all the neighbors over and having this big party, to welcome her sister. Well, evidently we got there so late the party was over. We walked up the front porch there. Mike says, go see if it's the right house. So I go up there and I says, I think this is the wrong house. And he says, what? I says, God, there's some man I'd never seen before with red hair sleeping on their davenport.
What he had was of hair. It was red.
And he says, well, that isn't the house then. So we better go down the corner here and call. So we went down the corner and got the phone and called him. Hell yes, it was the right address. It's one of their party goers there called Red, and he was sleeping it off on their davenport. Well, anyway, we drove back there, and Evelyn convinced me that the water in Montana was awful. You couldn't even drink coffee with it. The stuff tasted so terrible. Besides, for Jim's allowance, he was able to cash in beer bottles. So they used to buy cases of quart bottles. No kidding. And then the neighbor ladies would come over in the morning and they didn't have coffee clutches, they had beer clutches.
That's true. In Montana, though,
It's exactly what they did.
The dump was filled with beer cans.
Well, anyway, she decided that we got to go on our way home. We're going to go through Yellowstone, and she's going to take us out on this camping trip. We'd never been camping before. She's got this little homemade camper. Oh, all our kids, we had 7 at the time, and all hers, 4. Kathy was what, 4 months old?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She's got a Mercury, and we have a station wagon. So she says, well, not to worry. I got this little homemade camper. She got this little homemade jobby that's got guide wires coming out the end of it and everything, a little
Tent trailer.
wooden jobby. But it was a homemade jobby. It wasn't.
It was.
And I got all the equipment. I got that stove and the hatchet and everything you need. Well, we're just going to have the funnest time. So we spent the whole day frying chicken and making potato salad and jello and a whole bunch of stuff because I thought we were going to stop off on our way and have a little picnic at a park or something. Oh no, we've got to wait till we get in the park to eat this food because that's not camping. And it's getting darker and darker. It's in the summertime. It's getting pretty damn late at night. We get to Mammoth Falls. It's the entrance to one entrance to Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
And it is pouring down rain in torrents, just pouring and pouring. You couldn't even see. It's raining so hard. Time to eat our picnic now. Here we are, gathered all the kids into this little station wagon, passing out this chicken and potato salad and jello. Isn't this fun? Well, so now we have a problem with sleeping arrangements. Mike and I slept in the front seat of her Mercury, so the kids could have most of the station wagon, and she slept in her little tent trailer, or whatever you want to call it. So the next morning we get up and Mike says, well, if you give me the keys to the trunk here, I'll get out the camp stove and Barb can start fixing breakfast here.
There's a little secret though to the trunk.
Yeah, there was a great big secret to the trunk. We didn't find out about it right away, but so Evelyn says, okay, I'll send the kids all around here and they can gather up wood and stuff for the fire. So, but I have one problem. Promise me, Mike, you won't get mad at me. Mike says, what? I left the keys to the trunk back in Montana. And there's a camp stove that has the whole bit.
Well, it wouldn't open. Everett said what you had to do was just push it up and down. Well, I couldn't push that thing up and down for the keys to work in it, and we couldn't get it open.
Well, so Mike gets in his toolbox and he finds a screwdriver about so big. And he gets a rock, and in Yellowstone, they cut you off 6-foot logs. They expect you to hack it up from there. So Mike took this screwdriver and this rock and he pounded little chips of wood off this 6-foot block of wood. And with the wet pine cones that the kids gathered, we managed to make some kind of a fire. And Kathy's screaming because she's hungry. So I cooked all those breakfast for everybody over this open campfire with this one frying pan. How come it wasn't locked in the trunk?
I don't know. We were lucky, I guess.
Anyway, then Evelyn decided the only way we could see Yellowstone properly was take the 90-mile trip, go around. Only it gets longer to take this 90-mile trip when you have people that have never seen anything, so you have to stop at every little mud pot. Well, she took one bottle for Kathy. I said, are you sure that's going to be enough for her? Oh, yes, I just fed her. She's going to want nothing else. She drank that sucker down as soon as we left. And that baby, for the next 6 hours, didn't have anything to eat. She let us know, man. She cried the whole time we're on this trip.
Well, she usually didn't do that.
So we got, well, you do it when you're hungry, Evelyn. So we got to Fisherman's Bridge, which was his camping ground, and so Ev's going to have us camping out there. And Mike said, okay, on one condition, we are all going over to this restaurant over here, and I am paying for dinner. And Ella says, but that's not camping. And Mike says, that's the way I'm camping. Because we didn't have any sleeping bags or anything. We slept in that station wagon with just some blankets, that we brought for the kids to sleep while we were traveling. It was cold. Bears came out at night. They were running over the guy wire. Evelyn's in there trying to warm up a bottle on a little piece of tin foil with a match lid.
Well, I heard those bear out there, and they were tripping over those ropes. And Kathy wakes up in the middle of the night, and boy, I ain't getting out there with those darn bear and building any darn fire. So I got this potato chip box and ripped it and got some cardboard. Then I got some foil, and I just made me a little fire right in the middle of the floor. And it's survival of the fittest.
Well, anyway, we had everything. Jim was going to come home with us. And we had everything. There was a precise way we had to pack all this stuff on top of our station wagon, and Mike had to rope it in, because we couldn't carry luggage in the car. It was full of kids. So I had everything packed, all roped down. We're ready to take off for home. And poor Jimmy. He comes over to Mike and he says, Uncle Mike, you won't kill me if I decide I don't want to go, because his suitcase was down at the bottom of all that roped on stuff. I tell you, that was a trip from you know where. Oh, what a trip. It's sort of like the National Lampoon Vacation. That's what it was like. And then on the way through Montana, Mike was trying to pass this Volkswagen. Just kept legging him back. Every time you get in a whole hill, this Volkswagen would just barely put along. He waited and waited to pass this sucker. And he finally got around him. And Chuck, who was our youngest and being kind of potty trained at that time, Well, he wasn't the youngest, but he was being potty trained. So, I have to go to the bathroom. And Mike says, oh no, you just had to wait till I got around this Volkswagen and decided to go to the bathroom, right? And he's so ticked, because he finally got around that Volkswagen that as Chuck was getting out of the car to take a leak, he says, and I hope a snake bites you. That kid was back in that car one step, and he was clear in the back of the station wagon. And he wouldn't get out to go to the bathroom until Mike got out and held his hand. I just laughed. I told him, that's what you get for seeing that.
Well, yeah, but when you guys were before you even got to our place,
No, this was afterwards. This was on the way home.
I mean, when you left the kids at the gas station,
Oh yeah, we left 2 kids in Pocatello, Idaho.
you didn't even know it.
We didn't even know they were gone.
Twin Falls. Twin Falls.
Oh, I thought it was Pocatello.
Twin Falls?
Twin Falls. I thought it was
Twin
Pocatello.
Falls is, I thought, was really way south.
What?
I thought Twin Falls, Idaho was way, or is that Idaho Falls? Had a regular cabin.
Start over.
Oh,
I just turned it off.
we went to a camping trip with Pa one time. We were supposed to, it was one of the glaciers, beautiful, but just rained something terrible. I had to park the car because we couldn't even drive in it. And we had it in a cabin. Raul was about 8 months old, I think. And Chuck was a little bit older, about 18 months, and Jen about 13, something like that. And my girlfriend Billy McManus was with me and Pa. We got into this cabin. They had electric stove and bathtub and everything, you know. And I just insisted on going out and building a fire out there. Because to me, that wasn't camping if you didn't go out and do that. Dad just about had a fit.
Yeah, the woman's insane.
Dad says, I think she's crazy. But we couldn't get any fire going. We couldn't even get an egg cooked over that camp stove.
Tell
fire that
him
we had.
about the times that Dave came up and was with you.
Oh, Dave, when he came to stay with us, we had this little 19-foot trailer, no bathroom in it, and no hot water even, and just a 1-bedroom. But we used to have, gals in the court used to come over and visit, and we'd have coffee or whatever, and I noticed that nobody was coming over anymore to visit and everything. One time this neighbor did come over, and she said, Evelyn, is somebody staying with you? And I said, yeah. And she said, well, who is he? And I said, my brother. Your brother? And I said, yeah. She said, what, you know what he told us? And I said, no, what? He said he was out in the wash house and he was talking to the women out there washing their clothes, and said, do you know Evelyn? Evelyn Young? Well, yeah, we know Evelyn. I said, I'm living with her. And that's all he said. So everybody thought, there's a strange man. I was the talk of the trailer court for a while. But he used to do things like that. And then he also had Jim. Jim was only about 3 or 4. And one time I was walking down the sidewalk with Jimmy, and I started going like this. I said, what are you doing? I'm making the trees grow. I said, whoever told you that? He said, Uncle Dave. I like to go, make everything grow. I said, geez. And then Dave would take him to the store, and he got about a 5-pound or 10-pound bag of potatoes and a loaf of bread. He'd make Jimmy carry the big bag of potatoes. He'd drop him in, and he'd go, oh, come on, get that, Jimmy, come on. And people would say, well, he's just a little kid, he can't carry. Oh, he does this all the time. And then we went to a gas station, and Jimmy's out there jumping on the hose, and I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm trying to make it ding. I said, where'd you learn that? Uncle Dave. Uncle Dave just taught him all stuff, a bunch of
What
stuff.
about Blessing's car?
Oh, gosh. But Dave would just pop in any old time. We had this Mercury, I think it was the same one that the trunk wouldn't open on. it would vapor lock all the time. So I'd keep this bottle of water to pour over the fuel pump to make it come out of it. And he wanted to drive the car from the airport to home. And I said, well, don't let it stall because it vapor locks. And it was the busiest time of the afternoon, going down 10th Avenue South at this great big intersection. He lets it stall. And of course it won't go again. We're tying up traffic 4 different ways. And he gets that bottle, a Purex bottle filled with water, and he lifts the hood. He pours a little bit out in his hand, and he throws it like this. And he's telling everybody around, don't worry, folks, we blessed this car with 500 miles. And people are just really mad, honking their horns and everything. And this one gal in a convertible, she started laughing. He flips her and he said, don't you laugh, it might happen to you someday. But that was Dave. He's just crazy. A lot of fun though.
Yeah.
But he used to just pop in. Him and Joe both. They both worked with the airlines. And all of a sudden they just pop up.
I know one time.
And then the wives didn't even know where they were.
They're going to go out and get a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah, they're cheaper
And,
in Oregon.
and they called me from the Portland airport to pick them up.
Yeah, they're cheaper in
I
Oregon.
said, you better let your wives know. So they called up the florist and had flowers ordered.
Yeah.
Their wives thought they just went out for a pack of cigarettes.
Well, we're up here, honey. We're buying cigarettes because it's so much cheaper up here.
Mm-hmm. Well, they both worked for the airline, so all they had to pay was the $2 tax to get on the
Well,
plane.
yeah, but gee, they were gone overnight.
To their anniversary, they'd take their wives out for the champagne flight.
I'll never forget when Dave and Joe in the Navy, and they were both home on leave at the same time, and they both got in a cargo flight, like, you know, or they take a hop or whatever they call it, to get home. Anyhow, I'm supposed to catch this flight out in the morning from McCord, I guess. And it was foggy, really foggy. You could hardly see in front of your eyes. And Joe was a worrywart, and Joe kept saying, "Oh, Dave, we're not going to make it. The stealing's 0 and all that." And Dave says, "Just say Hail Mary, you'll be all right." And that's all. Never worried him a bit. And Joe said, "Go say Hail Mary," and everything was fine. Took off. But Dave was always just flighty from one thing to another. Never knew what to expect from Dave. Still don't.
Yeah, still don't.
Okay. Now what?
I was campused. That's what they do, is campus you. You couldn't go off
You
campus.
can go off campus.
I couldn't go off campus. I was only allowed to go off once a month anyway.
Maybe that's why you stuck with Mike, because you didn't have a chance to meet anybody else.
That's probably
And
true.
he was on campus all the time.
You know, I got campus for things, really bad things, like I sang Tea for Two, you know, playing family. A boy for you and a girl for me.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Barbara, how can you be so sinful?
Yeah, I sang Tea for Two, so I got campus for a month for
Well,
that.
the nuns that taught me were
The only funny thing that we did at school, that we really pulled the wool over those nuns' eyes, and I was kidding them. I didn't think they'd really believe me. But one night Mike and I went out, and we were supposed to be back at 10 o'clock. Well, we came back at 10 o'clock, but the nuns forgot we were out, and they didn't unlock the door for us. So we sat out in the car and napped. Till about 12 o'clock, some nun finally remembered that, oh, Barbara was out tonight. We gotta let her in. So she says, what'd you do all that time out there? And I said, well, we prayed. Oh, they thought that was so wonderful. We said, well, they thought that was wonderful. Boy, we became the most popular couple at school. And shit, we necked the whole time.
You lied.
I lied and they believed it.
Sure, they're going to believe that. I remember when the nun came to the house when Mom was, oh, your mother was such a wonderful person.
A saint.
A saint. Yeah, and I, well, how so? She's told me that if she had her life to live over again, she would have got married younger and had more children. I said, oh my God. I couldn't believe it. She had everybody fooled. She was a strong woman. I don't know how anybody could spank people so many times every day without getting tired. With everything else she had to do.
That's terrible.
I know it. Well, I mean, she was a strong person.
Well, you're meaning it like physical.
Oh, I mean it in other ways too. She was strong-willed, strong-minded. I remember when Dave was in that vocational school, and he said that his friend's name was some Irish name like O'Brien or something. And Mom said, oh, I'll bet he's a good Catholic. And Dave says, no, I don't think he is. And he's fallen away then. Stay away from him. Fallen away Catholic. With a name like that, he's probably Catholic. And if he isn't Catholic, he's fallen away. That's all there is to it. She was a good judge of people. You think that's funny? That's how we.
Well, you know what was funny? You said she was a good judge of people.
Yeah, she's good at judging people, I guess I should have said. I never forget when I got a job as working on the curb at Bush's Drive-In when it first opened up in Tacoma. And I'd bring home tips sometimes, and sometimes I wouldn't. It just depended on who came there and what they felt like, I guess. Didn't get many tips for that anyhow. She'd say, well, how many tips did you get? And I said, oh gosh, I did pretty good tonight. I got about $9. You must have been chipping on the curb. And if I didn't bring home hardly any tips, I wasn't doing my job right. So I didn't know. I mean, when Dave calls me up to this day, he said, hi, old Chippy. It's because of that. I remember one time, Mom used to come up and I used to work till about 1 or 2 in the morning. And Mom would come upstairs and she'd ask me for my tip money for gas for church. And I always gave it to her. This one morning, I got up and I came downstairs. Everybody was quiet. Nobody would talk to me. And I said, what's going on? And Dad says, stick to your guns, Ellen, stick to your guns. I said, what did I do?
Oh, God.
And I said, Mom, what's the matter? Nothing at all. Something's wrong here. Then Dad said, okay, stick to your guns. I said, come on, what happened? And Mom says, you know very well what happened. No, I don't. What did I do? I said, we couldn't go to church this morning. I said, why? You wouldn't let me have any tips. I said, I'd let you have tips. All you have to do is go up and get them. Nope, you told me I couldn't have them. I said, I must have done it in my sleep because I don't remember that. And here's Dad saying, stick to your guns, stick to your guns. And I thought, I don't even know what he's talking about. But evidently she'd come up and can I have your tips? And I said, no, you can't have my tips. That's what I always wanted to say, but I never did. But only in my sleep. But she couldn't go to church or anything that morning. And I said, oh, here's the tips. But it didn't matter what I did. It was always wrong or it was never enough. That's what was so hard, I thought. If the crib wasn't full of babies, it was full of ironing. And I did the ironing. Well, I take all day. Oh, I did the ironing, Mom. Yeah, but you didn't clean this and you didn't clean that. And then I said, well, I cleaned the house, but you didn't do the ironing. You couldn't win. And I say, oh, that was a good job, God bless you, and all that sort of rot. It was just never enough.
All for the honor and glory of God.
Every time you hurt yourself, offer it up, get a higher place in heaven.
Everything was all for the honor and glory of God.
Yeah. Oh, probably we'll probably get a really high place in heaven. I suppose.
I think we've knocked ourselves out of there.
Either that or talked ourselves out of it. No?